The National Guard is the oldest military in the United States of America. We started in 1636, back long before the colonies became states, before the American Revolution. So the roots of the National Guard go back over 100 years before the active duty standing army, which formed in 1775. In the modern day National Guard, we have a National Guard in every single state of the Union, territory, and the District of Columbia. We're a 6,000 square foot museum. We're the only museum in the country that covers the whole history of the National Guard of the United States. These galleries in the beginning have a lot of text, so there's a lot of reading to be done. Later in the museum we get more interactive and you get closer to the artifacts. A lot of that is because this portion is an older part of the museum, but also the artifacts are older and much more fragile. We cover the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812 and what we call between the wars, and then the Civil War. These items were collected in 1975 in preparation for the bicentennial in 1976. The Guard is not actually referred to as the National Guard. That's designated in 1825, used by New York. It's in a polite reference and sort of a nod to General Lafayette, the Marquis de Lafayette, and a nod to the French Garde Nationale. So that's where the term National Guard comes from. It becomes legislated in 1903, and we become the National Guard and finally legislated in 1908. This museum does so beautifully that I love about it is they follow desegregation in the military through history, and this is the first example, in this case the African American troops who went over to serve in World War I. The visitor will come through and see our map table, which is used to orient them as far as National Guard infantry divisions, where they were and where they went. And you can see on the map table and the map table in action. Come through this archway again, and you come into the Cold War culture, which was a very complicated era for the National Guard and for the United States and the world. 7,000 National Guardsmen in Vietnam. There were tens of thousands of National Guardsmen entered into what was called the Selective Reserve Force. Stateside, the Selective Reserve Force was never used, but Medals of Honor came out of Vietnam service. The 151st Indiana Rangers, Company D, were the highest decorated soldiers in all of Vietnam. They were National Guardsmen out of Indiana. And we have a lot of artifacts, their things, here. We're coming through an archway, and what that does is it tells you that we're evolving. This is your total force policy in 1973 with Vietnam, and this is it in action, and this is the new Minuteman. You come through here, of course, then we go to war, and this is Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. It's important to notice as you walk through here that as you're looking through the Twin Towers and our modern Minuteman, you're looking at the almost 800 names on the wall of the fallen of the National Guardsmen who've given their lives in the global war on terror. So that concludes the tour of the history of the National Guard, taking you up to about present day.